Alrighty guys, what's going on everybody? Welcome back here to another live stream, my friends. Hope everyone is having a beautiful Thursday afternoon. Hope everyone is doing good. So, we've got ourselves a lot of severe weather ahead. Starting today, we do have an enhanced risk here for severe weather. All hazards on the table. We'll get into that here in 1 second. But what's up guys? Let's see who we got here today. We have ourselves, let's see. We have Jared, we have Logan, we have Vienna, we have Kaylee, we have Divinely, we have Crystal, we have Samuel, we have Red Cyclonic, we have Steel, we have Ponderosa, of course everybody else who is here and that's not chatting. Hope everyone's doing good. So yeah, so today we have an enhanced risk today across portions of eastern Nebraska, cutting into west central and central portions of Iowa. That is a level 3 out of 5 severe weather threat. Now, if you guys are in the dark green, the yellow, or the orange here, you're in the risk for severe weather today. So, you know, some areas out there in Wisconsin, Minnesota, South Dakota, portions of Nebraska, Iowa, even Missouri, and Illinois. You guys are kind of in the region here where we could see a little bit of severe weather for today. Once again, we do have that enhanced risk here, that level 3 threat, you know, the greatest risk for severe weather, you know, across eastern Nebraska, central and western Iowa. Now, looking over here at the probability here for, you know, severe weather, starting off with the tornado probability, we do have ourselves a 5% chance for tornadoes across areas out by Omaha. So basically, if you're in the Brown area, there's a 5% chance probability here for tornado dropping within a 25-mile radius of your location. So, you know, 5% chance for tornadoes in the brown and 2% chance across the green. You know, the green's a relatively low-end probability for tornadoes, but a couple of them cannot be ruled out here. So that's something we'll definitely need to look out there for. Now, damaging winds. We do have ourselves a 15% chance probability for damaging winds across the yellow here, 5% chance across the brown. In terms of damaging wind gusts, we're going to be seeing those gusts ranging between 60 to 70 miles an hour in terms of maximum wind gusts within those storms. And then in terms of hail, we do have ourselves actually a pretty decent risk for hail. We do have ourselves a hatch risk, a 30% hatch risk for hail, potentially 2 inches in diameter and larger in terms of hail. So where you guys kind of see this this black netted area, or this white netted area with the black outline, this is our hatch risk region. Now this is where we could see hail 2 inches in diameter and greater, which does include areas out by Des Moines, Lincoln, Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, Sioux City. You know, you guys are in that significant hail risk for the potential of hail, you know, 2 inches in diameter and larger. So that is that. Now, the probability here, like you mentioned, you know, the red here indicates a 30% chance probability of seeing hail, potentially 2 inches in diameter and larger. Across the yellow, it's a 15% chance probability for hail, and of course, across the brown, it is a 5% chance probability. So once again, you know, with this outlined area here, this is where we could see hail 2 inches in diameter and larger, and outside of the region here, you know, still in the other area of, or the other part of that hail risk, we'll mostly be seeing those hail incidents between 1 to 2 inches in diameter. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. So that's today's risk here. You know, we do have that enhanced risk out there. So, you know, just a heads up there towards the upper Midwest. Now for tomorrow, we have a pretty long risk for severe weather here, all the way as far down to the south here, you know, across central Texas, cutting all the way through the central southern plains and through the Midwest, into portions of the Ohio Valley and up into the Great Lakes region, where we will have severe weather possible for tomorrow, which we'll have to look out for. Now, we do have a big 2% chance for tornadoes tomorrow. We do have ourselves a pretty big 15% chance for damaging wind gusts, still ranging, you know, potentially 60 to 70 miles an hour. You know, across the yellow, 15% chance, across the brown, 5%. And then lastly, we do have ourselves, you know, a pretty large 15% risk for hail as well. You know, mostly between 1 to 2 inches in diameter. But you notice here, tomorrow in western Oklahoma as well as north central Texas, including some areas out by Lawton, Oklahoma, out there by Wichita Falls, Texas, towards Abilene, we do have a hatch risk for hail tomorrow, potentially being 2 inches in diameter and larger as well. So we obviously have that threat for today, but you know, tomorrow that will, the main hail concern, the greatest probability, or the biggest probability for the biggest hail, will be tomorrow across western Oklahoma into north central Texas overall. So that is that. And then, of course, we work our way over here into day 3, which this is going to be the day after tomorrow, which obviously today is Thursday. So tomorrow will be day 2. Day 3 would be on Saturday. So this is for Saturday. Got another level 2 threat for severe weather here across portions of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, and that level 1 marginal risk for severe weather goes all the way into the Ohio Valley here overall. And then lastly here for Sunday, we do have ourselves another 15% chance risk area here for the potential of severe weather up across portions of eastern Texas, throughout portions of Louisiana, a lot of Arkansas, portions of Mississippi, western Tennessee, bits of Missouri, and southern Illinois will be in that risk here. Also a little bit of extreme western Kentucky in that 15% risk here overall. Anyways, so that's that. All right, let me get to some of these comments here. Dalton says, what am I thinking for Lincoln? So today we do have that enhanced risk out there kind of towards the Lincoln area. Actually, I believe Lincoln itself is, yeah, so the cutoff point for that enhanced risk goes through North Lincoln. For most of this, for most of the city of Lincoln here, we are in that level 2 threat for severe weather. Overall, that gives us a 2% chance for tornadoes. So across Lincoln, within a 25-mile radius around you, there's a 2% chance probability of a tornado dropping, which is pretty low odds, of course, but still be weather aware. Keep a close eye on the weather because you never know. Nature can be kind of crazy sometimes. So tornadoes can't be completely ruled out, but the odds are pretty low that you'll see one. Now, in terms of damaging winds, a little bit greater of a probability here. So for northern Lincoln, we have that 15%, but for the central southern side, we have that 5% chance for damaging winds. Now we're going to see these gusts potentially ranging 60 to 70 miles an hour. It is going to be a possibility within those storms. In terms of what the storms could peak up to in terms of wind gusts here. And then lastly, in terms of hail, we actually do have a hatch risk for hail out here in Lincoln. So we do have a 15% chance probability of seeing hail, but given that we're in that hatch risk, it does give the potential that we could be seeing hail 2 inches in diameter and larger, given that we're in that significant or that hatch risk that we have out here. So, yeah, so definitely all hazards is on the table. Your main concern definitely is going to be hail, following that damaging wind threat, and then lastly, that low-end tornado threat. We still can't rule out a couple tornadoes, but the odds of you getting them are pretty low overall. So anyways, Nicholas says, hello from West Des Moines, Iowa. I keep hearing major hail today. Yes, indeed. So yeah, today's main concern is going to be hail. As you guys can see here on today's risk, we have a pretty large 30% hatch risk for hail. Once again, we're talking potential hail size 2 inches in diameter and greater today. So we could see we could definitely see some pretty big hail out there for today overall. In terms of that. Now, out there by West Des Moines, you can see you guys are included in that 30% hatch risk for hail. So, that's definitely something you're going to need to look out there for, Nicholas. In terms of damaging winds, we do have a 15% chance out here for, gusty winds 60 to 70 miles an hour overall. And then lastly, our tornado threat is a 2% chance, which is a relatively low-end threat. So, the odds of you getting a tornado is pretty low, but, just still remain weather aware, okay? What's up, Aurora? Good afternoon to you. Let's see here. New outlook for tomorrow. Gotcha. I think we just looked at that. Vienna says SPC updated for day 2. Updated everyone. Is it? Hold on. Let me double check. Make sure it's still the same here. I mean, this is. Let me check SPC's website. Sometimes this program's a little bit later to update. I mean, it could be the right update. Actually, no, it's not. Hold on a minute. Yeah, so they did update tomorrow's risk. I'll go ahead and bring up SPC for you guys. So this is the official Storm Prediction Center page for tomorrow. Yeah, we do actually now have a 5% chance for tornadoes up in southwestern Oklahoma and a little bit of extreme north-central Texas up there. Also, still kind of the same wind threat. I believe they extended that significant hail threat up into Kansas. I don't think that was there on the earlier outlook. Let me check. Nope, they definitely extended that. So, you can kind of see now in the new outlook, they kind of moved it like this. But yeah, that's new. So they they expanded that significant hail threat for tomorrow, and they also added a 5% chance for tornadoes tomorrow too. It doesn't look like they really mess with the wind risk though overall for the most part. So, that's that. But now we have a 5% chance for tornadoes tomorrow, so we'll have to keep an eye on that there as well. Anyways, let's see here. Kaylee says local meteorologist highly thinks that Saturday's risk will be more towards the north and the west, including Missouri and northeastern Oklahoma. What do I think? So for Saturday, that would be what? Day 3, right? So today's Thursday, tomorrow's Friday, day Saturday. Okay, so for that, so this is what the SPC has, and this is what we should really go off of here. But you're saying, we'll be more towards the north, including southwest Missouri. So, yeah, southwest Missouri is in that risk here, and northeast Oklahoma is as well. So, regarding, the SPC outlook, yes, those areas is already in that risk area. So, yeah, there definitely will be that potential for severe weather. Now, there is no breakdown for Saturday's risk quite yet, still given the fact that we're still a couple of days out, and, there's still, the products are not available for that. That's only available for, day 1 and day 2. This is day 3. So tomorrow we'll learn the exact probability potential for tornadoes, large hail, damaging winds, etc. So we'll learn that tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, those areas are already included for the risk area here from the Storm Prediction Center. So those areas are already in mention and already in highlight there. So yeah, we definitely do need you guys to be weather aware out there too. All right, Steel, I got you, my friend. So here in a moment, we're going to hop into the models here, y'all. Let me do Steel's zip code real quickly, and then we'll hop into to models real quickly. So, up here where you're at, Steel, so regarding the risk here for today, don't really got anything going on. Same thing for Saturday, but for tomorrow, we do actually have a marginal risk, a level 1 threat for severe weather tomorrow. So you're in that level 1, relatively low end chance for severe weather, but still, be weather aware, keep an eye on it. Still some severe storms will be quite possible. You're just outside of that tornado risk though, so you're pretty good. So regarding tornadoes, as of now, you're not in that risk area. So as of right now, you're looking pretty okay from tornadoes. Now, in terms of damaging winds, you're also right on the edge of that wind threat. The main concern is actually going to be hail. Actually, hold on. Wait, what? Wait, why is it being that way? That's weird. Hold on. Did that just update? Oh, it literally did just update. Okay, so there's the new one. Okay, so yeah, you're still in that level 1 threat, but they just updated that. That's why I got a little confused there for a minute. Yeah, so you're outside of that tornado risk, which is good. You are right on the... See, that's weird, though, because look at this. I mean, you're right on the edge of that wind threat and that hail threat, but the marginal risk goes, even further past you. Just by a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, keep it out there for some gusty winds and some hail. Could be quite possible tomorrow. But, your threat is relatively low. Your threat is relatively low. Not anything super, super wild out there for you. Okay, let's see here. All right, so, yeah, we're going to hop into the models now real quickly. Let's go ahead and bring them up. Let's see here. All right, Logan, I got you real quickly before we do that real quick. I got you. Let me see... Wait, you want me to look at Logan? Let me pull this up. You're up in Wisconsin. Gotcha. So, yeah, Wisconsin is going to be in a bit of a concern for severe weather. So today you're good. Tomorrow, though, yeah, you have that slight risk, that level 2 threat tomorrow. That does put you in a 2% chance for tornadoes. So basically the way that works is that, your area here in the blue, the little blue marker there, within a 25-mile radius around you, there is a 2% chance of a tornado dropping. So, the odds are pretty low. In terms of damaging winds, we do have a 15% chance for hail, potentially ranging 1 to 2 inches in diameter. Could be quite possible. And then lastly, in terms of, did I say hail? Sorry, that was damaging winds. 15% chance for, actually both hail and damaging winds because they're both in the 15% risk area. But, hail between 1 to 2 inches in diameter and damaging wind gusts between 60 to 70 miles an hour. Both a 15% chance probability overall. So, yeah, tomorrow we'll need you to be weather aware out there, okay? All right, let's hop into the models, guys. We got some stuff we got to talk about here. So let's go ahead and bring up the HRRR. We need to go ahead and crank out this this high-resolution model here. We've got the HRRR coming in here. Go ahead and bring up our radar. So it does look like a lot of stuff. Here, let's go ahead and bring you all over here. It does look like we're going to really start to see a lot of that stuff, a lot of the storms activity, really kind of kicking off later on this evening. Kind of looks to be roughly around 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern time, which would be 3, 4 Central. You can kind of start to see, according to HRRR, we do start to get that convection that starts firing off here, across a lot of like central, kind of southern Minnesota, out throughout western Wisconsin as well. And as we work our way down in time, we kind of materialize into this squall line of storms that kind of develops here. You can kind of see here that long line of storms that kind of really starts to develop here. This is roughly right around 8 p.m. Eastern, so that'll be 7 Central. Around that time, remember, this is just one model, though, one model run, just take this lightly because, it could look a little different, but HRRR suggests a line of storms developing here later on this evening here, which, could be driving all those hazards, once again, tornadoes, large hail damaging winds. And then, of course, we work our way throughout the, through the remainder of the late evening, and it kind of looks like HRRR kind of develops some pretty nasty potentially some pretty nasty hail makers and, some supercells developing. You can kind of see there on the southern extent of that line there, those tail end Charlies we have. You can kind of see here out there by, Des Moines area. We definitely could be picking up some pretty big hailers. I mean, that's pretty hefty. I mean, the HRRR does suggest some high-end reflectivity potential. Some big hail and stuff like that. Let me grab a sounding out here. I'm just kind of curious to see what the environment's going to look like overall. Whoa. Okay, so one thing I do notice is, look at that curvature to our hodograph. That kind of screams, some potential rotating storms there. So you do see that big arch. So that's basically telling us that our winds in the lower atmosphere are going to the north, and as we go up in altitude, the winds are changing direction to the northeast and increasing in wind speed. I mean that is definitely a tornadic kind of sounding here too. I mean, look at that. That is quite an arch on our hodographs there. I mean, I'm a little bit concerned for later this evening for some of those areas out there, kind of in the later portion of the evening, like we mentioned. Across Iowa, definitely could have some pretty big hail makers, and perhaps even some really large hail. Or did I already say that? Sorry, perhaps some hail and tornadic activity is where I was going with that. But so we'll definitely really need to look into that. And that actually continues, it looks like, according to HRRR. As we approach our way into midnight here, you can see that we do have, still some storms going on. And then, of course, that just kind of continues into tomorrow morning, to be honest with you. So it does look like we could have a little bit of nocturnal, storm activity kicking off here as well. So we'll have to see. Let's see here. If I didn't have a cap, I could be getting storms today, but no, Mother Nature was... we gotta love that, though. Sometimes, those caps really love to block those incoming storms, right? It's like you get a nice little updraft starting to form, and then the cap's like, no, you're not forming. But yeah, I get it. I've had that situation so many times. No problem, Logan. What's up, Hoops? Hope you're doing good. Saying definitely worried for Sunday for my area. Sunday we do have that risk for Sunday down in throughout the Midwest and some of the southern part of the country here. Like Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, Tennessee, Illinois, a little bit of Western Kentucky, Missouri. Yeah, we do have to watch out for you guys on Sunday, for sure. So we'll definitely keep you guys, updated and stuff like that. Let me actually go ahead and bring you all over here to back to the models here real quickly. We're going to do a little bit more of an extended view of things here. Let's go ahead and bring up our NAM. See what the NAM kind of suggests. Also, we're going to bring up our instability here too. We're going to go ahead and overlay our instability. So this is our fuel in the atmosphere for storms. So we work our way down in time here into Saturday. Yeah, you can really see Sunday though. Once we approach our way into Sunday, we really do build in a pretty good amount of instability. Throughout the South. Cutting through the Midwest here as well. Kind of where that risk is we were just talking about. So according to NAM. We do have a pretty good amount of instability that develops out here. Just depends on where you're at because, it's not going to be the same for everybody. Grabbing a sounding out here. You do see a little bit of curvature, a little bit of veering winds going on here. We'll have to see about tornadic concerns and whatnot, but, definitely pretty good unstable environment here for storms. Great moisture content. I mean, storms they're looking pretty good. Definitely potential for heavy downpours too. Pretty heavy rains as well, given that environment. So, we'll look out there for that. Up to the north a little bit. Still got a little bit of arching to our hodographs here. We're going to have to look out for tornadic potential as it certainly could be a concern. Great supply of moisture once again. I mean, even advecting that high up north into the Midwest. I mean, we're still talking dew points, in the 60s and which is great moisture content. Let me actually bring up those dew points here. I'm kind of curious to see oh yeah, look at that. Perfect. That's beautiful advection there. I mean, look at that. So all of that moisture, all of that warmth is working its way up here from the Gulf. And then you got that triple point here. You got that low that develops here. You got that cold front coming down. And then you got that warm front associated with it. So, all that warm advecting air is really going to be building in. And you guys are definitely going to notice it being a little bit more muggy. Dew points really in the 60s and 70s, you really start to notice the mugginess, especially the 70s, in which, down south towards like the Gulf Coast, we're really going to be in those high dew points, which is, certainly going to make it pretty muggy. You guys are definitely going to notice that. So, Yeah, so we'll certainly be watching this closely. There's, like I mentioned, multiple days worth of severe weather ahead. We get that new system that develops there for Sunday across the southern plains, central southern plains, which then shoots up to the Midwest, driving some more of that moisture and whatnot up there. So, definitely gotta watch out for that. Now on the backside, there's actually going to be a bit of dry air here as well, pulling in. Yeah, typically on these systems here, you get a lot of that dry continental air really pulling down from up north, in which that's going to really lower that humidity, in which honestly, could become kind of a concern for. Fires and whatnot. I mean, low humidity down in the 20s. I mean, good 10, 15 knots of winds, could be a concern for fire conditions out west, which we'll have to look into. But, so that is definitely something that we need to look out for. But yeah, I mean, just generally speaking, definitely is we definitely do need to be watching this very closely on Sunday as well. What's up, James? Hope you're doing good, my friend. Let's see here. Rife said, did they expand the risk for Sunday? I remember yesterday Yazoo was just outside the risk. I don't recall if they did or not. Yazoo is in the risk now. I will tell you that. So I guess they did, huh? Yep. So Yazoo, we do have that 15% out there. You guys are now included in that. I honestly don't really remember the previous size before this because I haven't been looking at this. Haven't looked at this at all today. So, or I did before the stream. It's just I'm saying before then. But yeah. Anyways, it doesn't look much different to me. But we do obviously still have a lot of the Midwest and southern Midwest here involved in that severe weather potential, in which once again eastern Texas, central northern Louisiana, a lot of Arkansas, central southern Missouri, southern Illinois, a little bit of extreme western Kentucky here, western Tennessee, and like western Mississippi is involved there too. So, anyways, let's see here. Francis says, how's Chicago looking for the next couple of days if you need a zip code? I know where Chicago is. I got you. So, Chicago does need to be weather aware. Not necessarily for today. Today we're pretty good. We do have a general thunderstorm risk, so, don't be surprised if you get a boom of thunder here and there. Just don't be surprised. Now, tomorrow, though, we do need the Chicago area to be weather aware and weather alert. Because we do have a level 2 threat for all of Chicago. That is a level 2 out of 5 severe weather threat, which is a decent risk for severe weather potential. So we do need you to be weather aware tomorrow. Now, that does give us a small chance for tornadoes. This is the lowest probability available, which is a 2% chance, but still cannot rule out potential tornadic activity. So within a 25-mile radius around you, Francis, there is a 2% chance of a tornado dropping. So within a 25-mile radius around you, there's a 2% chance of a tornado dropping there, which is pretty low odds, as you can imagine here. In terms of damaging winds, we do have ourselves a 15% chance probability here for damaging winds. We are talking the potential here of some gusts within those storms potentially ranging, 60 to 70 miles an hour. It could be a possibility. And then lastly, we also do have a 15% chance for hail, ranging between 1 to 2 inches in diameter more than likely. So, there definitely is going to be that potential for severe weather overall. Here for tomorrow. Like I mentioned, today you're going to be relatively good, but tomorrow we do need you to be weather aware, okay? Anyways, let's see here. So that is that. Hoping we get some to dry. Dude, we need we need rain in Florida. It's been dry lately. Dude, yesterday, my weather station, I have my Mesonet outside. I actually ended up recording 19% humidity in Florida yesterday. There's not much water vapor in the atmosphere right now over Florida. It's been very, very dry. I'm just ready for storm season, man. I tell you, I'm so ready for it. What's up, Spencer? Hope you're doing good, my friend. Let's see here. Hoop says, what do I think the uncertainties for Sunday, or what do I think the uncertainties for Sunday? I'm hearing another 3/14 tornado outbreak. So I'm not going to go that far by saying that, but let's look. Let's take a look at this together. So let me pull up the models again here. We'll go ahead and redraw that instability for you guys. So let's go ahead and get that back up and rolling here. All right, so we're going to pull up the instability. So, yeah, I mean, like we mentioned, we definitely do start to build in a pretty good amount of instability here for Sunday. You can see we're kind of talking, the afternoon, evening of Sunday here. It's 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 Central. And around that time, we definitely do generate a pretty good amount of instability, across a lot of Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Texas, and so on, the risk area in general. Now, given the fact that we are starting to generate a new area of low pressure, so like we looked at just a minute ago with our dew points and stuff, we did notice that we are starting to get a new area of low pressure developing across like Oklahoma and Texas, which is then going to shoot its way up here into the Midwest. Now, because this is a new strengthening low, this is going to increase that wind shear. Because of a strengthening low, it's pulling in more air aggressively because of the stronger it is. And that's going to really amplify those both lower and upper level winds. Now, because of that, that is going to allow for the conditions to become right for great organization of storm structures, potentially even tornadic concerns as well. I mean, like we mentioned here, hopping back over to the soundings, which we'll go ahead and grab another one here in central Arkansas. I mean, well, of course, for this time, it's not really going to show it yet. Pretty weak lower level winds on that sounding here. Let me try another one here. Yeah, there we go. So this one's a lot better. You can kind of see how we have a lot, kind of an arch going on in our hodograph here. A little bit of veering going on. Our lower level winds are moving to the north, and then they kind of gradually change to the northeast as we go up in altitude. So, that's kind of what we look for tornadic development, is that veering wind profile in the lower atmosphere. And an increase in wind speeds also allows for, great organization to occur within those storms. I mean, we do have some really strong wind shear, developing here, especially in our mid-levels, mid-atmosphere. Winds are very, very strong, which, that's going to really allow for great separation between your storms' updrafts and their downdrafts, keeping them well spaced and potentially long-lived. So that is something that we do need to look out for, too. I mean, given the fact that we do have some really strong mid-level wind shear, that's going to really allow, like I said, for great storm organization. Now, even up there, we have great moisture advection too. I mean, dew points are going to be well up into the 60s. I mean, mid 60s here. I mean, taking a look here back at those dew points here overall, which we'll go ahead and do here. No pun intended. Right now here. Let's go ahead and bring those up. So, I mean, yeah, like we mentioned, with this storm system, it's going to be really strong, and it's really going to be advecting a lot of moisture up there. I mean, you can see, our 60-degree dew point line, according to NAM here, I mean, literally shoots all the way up here in towards, Missouri and Illinois. I mean, so we're really, advecting a lot of that warm and moisture-filled air from the, from the Gulf here, pulling its way up north here. So, anyways, so that is that, in which, like I mentioned, we'll definitely, be here for you guys to help out, overall, with more updates and everything in the future. So if you guys would be interested in that, leave a like, hit that subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. But yeah, I mean, the environment does seem pretty strong in wind shear, pretty good in moisture, instability. Really the last main ingredient you need for severe weather. It seems pretty good. It does seem pretty good. So, it's quite an environment. It is quite an environment here. Tornadoes definitely, I think, will be a concern for Sunday for sure. Also damaging winds and, perhaps even some hail as well. I think it's going to be probably another triple threat kind of concern going on. Okay. Anyways, Francis says, thank you. I work for insurance, so severe weather can be extra fun. Oh, I am sure. I am really, really sure. But you're very, very welcome, my friend. No problem. Let's see here. Chandler says, hello, I'm concerned about Sunday for Springfield, Missouri area. Can I do zip code? I know where Springfield's at, so I can pull it up real quickly. If my thing decides it wants to load. Maybe I know Springfield. Wait, hold on. Why isn't Spring... I don't know why. It's not pulling up here. Where's Springfield? Hello? I know Springfield's around here somewhere. There's Hot Springs. Okay, so it should be... Am I in Arkansas? I'm an idiot. Y'all did not see that. That's embarrassing. I'm so sorry. It's one of them days, man, I tell you. So yeah, no, sorry. I was in Arkansas for some reason. So looking at Springfield, you were wanting to know about when? For Sunday. Okay, so Sunday, given... the ingredients and stuff, it does look like we definitely could have maybe some storm activity towards the region. Let me look at the SPC real quickly. I don't know if they have it directly in that risk or not, which they have you right on the edge of it. So Springfield is in that risk for severe weather, but it's right on the edge here. So we do need to be weather aware, of course. Hopping back over to the models here, I'm going to go ahead and grab a little sounding here for Springfield. We definitely do have really good veering, though. Look at that lower level profile, pretty strong veering going on, though. Those lower level northwesterlies, changing northerlies as you go up in altitude. A bit of a veering wind kind of, situation here. Really strong wind shear. And once again, keeping those storms relatively organized. Great moisture. I mean, yeah, I definitely do see this, being a little bit of a potential for storms. It seems like the instability is pretty weak, though, across this area for there. Let me try this sounding here. We definitely do have a pretty big inversion. That's because the daylight heating hasn't occurred at this point in time yet. Let me try one more here for pretty much the afternoon. Yeah, so the afternoon, it looks like that's when you're going to have kind of your greatest concern. But, we have enough fuel. We have enough instability for storms, and whatnot. It does look like an environment where severe weather could be quite possible, in terms of gusty winds potentially and whatnot. So we'll definitely be, need to be weather aware in this region on Sunday. So we'll definitely keep you guys updated, okay? All right. No problem, Hoops. I got you. Keegan wants me to take a look at the zip code for Friday. Gotcha. Let's go and pull this up here. You're up in Michigan. So tomorrow, I think you're in that... That's slight risk here, if I'm not mistaken here. Yep, so you're in that level 2 threat for tomorrow. So, essentially, tornado-wise, we do have a little risk for tornadoes across the area here, Keegan. It's a relatively low threat, though. So this is a 2% risk for tornadoes. So within a 25-mile radius around you, there is a 2% chance of a tornado dropping. It's pretty low odds overall. Damaging winds, we do have a 15% chance out there for damaging wind gusts here, ranging between 60 to 70 miles an hour. Potential for definitely some strong wind gusts here within those storms being possible. And then, of course, we do have ourselves another 15% chance out here for hail, ranging essentially 1 to 2 inches in diameter. So, we're not in that hatch risk or anything like that, but we still do have decent risk for hail as well as for damaging winds. And like we mentioned, a relatively low-end tornado threat here overall. Now, what I do want to look at, though, is I do want to pull up some soundings here. Kind of confirm that. I mean, obviously, this is SPC Outlook. This is what you need to go off of. But let's just kind of we'll bring up the 12 Zulu run. That's our latest full run that we have here available to us. So we work our way down in time, and yeah, you can really start to see a lot of that instability here building its way in for kind of tomorrow evening. We do have a pretty good amount of fuel for storms that does develop out here. Let me go ahead and grab a little sounding here. You see there's a little bit of a temperature inversion. It could be a little difficult for storms trying to fire off here. A little bit of a dry layer in our mid-lower atmosphere. Definitely could could allow for some of that hail growth to occur. Like we mentioned there, a pretty decent amount of instability. I mean, pretty good amounts actually. Just given this is, just given the sounding and whatnot, yeah, I mean, I really do see kind of every concern being a possibility. We have a little bit of veering winds, not super strong. I mean, our lower level wind shear is, kind of pointing in the right direction. It's not entirely super strong, but it is enough to potentially get some tornadic activity to occur. Now, with that being said, really kind of, what SPC says, really kind of a triple threat sounding potential, a little bit of gusty winds, a little bit of hail, and like we mentioned, an isolated tornado or two could be possible out of that. It is certainly going to be a possibility. And then, of course, a lot of that kind of rolls its way out here for the morning of Saturday. Now, timing-wise, it kind of looks like here. Let me go ahead and bring up our radar again here. Looking over here once this loads, it kind of looks like we could really start to get some of those storms firing off here. I mean, really anywhere from the late evening to early morning. I mean, I'm not going to give you a specific time because, the model's a little iffy here. It kind of does show some storms hitting pretty early, but then, that kind of being the last of it. But anyways, so yeah, I mean, just be weather aware out here. We do need you to be, weather aware out in this region here as, all hazards as possible overall. So anyways, let's see here. In Texas, 2011 Easter, we had a tornado right over our house. The baseball-sized hail did the damage. Wow, dude, that is crazy. I'm glad you're okay though. That's pretty wild. That is pretty wild. Chandler says, so is the instability lacking from area possible wind and hail? So yeah, you guys don't have as much instability out there, Chandler, but you know the environment is still going to be possible for developing severe weather in your region. You know, given also SPC, like we mentioned, does have you in that 15% chance. You know, we do need you to be weather aware, of course. You know, that is an active risk for severe weather, in which you know you do need to be weather aware for it. What's up, SPC? Hope you're doing good. But anyways. So yeah, guys, we'll definitely be keeping you guys weather aware and everything like that. And you know, once again, if you guys have any zip codes or anything you want me to take a look at, I'll be more than happy to help. Logan wants me to do a zip code here at the zip code. Yeah, I got you. Let's see what we got. Bring up Wisconsin. Okay, so you're up in southeast Wisconsin. So I guess you're wanting to know about tomorrow's risk here. So first of all, you can kind of see here, according to HRRR, we do have a pretty strong set of storms potentially rolling in pretty early here for tomorrow. It actually looks like pretty early. We could get some storms out there tomorrow. And, of course, maybe some more for the evening and whatnot. Anyways, let me bring up the instability again, which we'll go ahead and hop over here back to radar and instability. So, yeah, our big event here, the greatest concern is going to be pretty much late Friday. You know, late Friday. That's where we build in a lot of the instability and whatnot. So, grabbing a sounding roughly out here by you. Okay, so looking at a sounding here. So, our lower atmosphere, I mean, we've got upper 50 dew points. You know, can get the job done, of course. But, you know, there's a bit of a spread between our temperature and our dew point, which keeps relative humidity a little bit lower at our surface levels. But still, a little bit of storm activity could definitely still occur. Potential for elevated storms in this sounding. But let me drop a little bit further south here. Let's see. Okay, so what I am noticing here, first of all, so I want you to know this is our SQT plot here. This is looking at temperatures and just the thermodynamics throughout the atmosphere, okay? This is ground level, so down to the very bottom, this is where you're at it on the ground. And you go up in altitude, you know, the higher you look up here. So this is, 6 kilometers, this is 9 kilometers, 12 kilometers, etc. So looking at our wind profile, these are wind barbs. And so, I'd recommend that you guys learn how to read wind barbs here. They're pretty simple, very simple, measuring winds and knots. But essentially we do have ourselves, a pretty good amount of, mid, lower, and upper level wind shear. So our winds throughout the mid-atmosphere is moving quick because we have a pretty strong jet stream going over that area. So because of that, that's going to really allow for those storms here to, like I said, that's just really going to allow for storms to mature and become really well organized, given the fact that we do have strong wind shear. Now, if this was an opposite, say we didn't have much wind shear in the atmosphere, this would allow for storms to be relatively short-lived, relatively weak, because they can't fully organize. The wind kind of moves them around, gets them organized. One thing is, though, like I mentioned, say if we had a really weak wind shear. So say there was literally not much wind in the atmosphere. A rising storm, starts out from the surface or near surface and rises up. That warm air goes into the cooler environment. It rises and rises until it hits the EL. Then, of course, we start to cool down. That air starts to cool down and sinks back down to the surface. Now, given that there's no wind here, that rising up air that's coming up would start to sink right back down on itself because the winds are not really blowing it away from where it originated from, if that makes sense, from that updraft. Now, these really strong winds here, these really allow for, to carry those updrafts and, keep your downdraft air far away from the incoming upwards warm air, keeps it separated from the cold air coming down. Does that make any sense? So given the fact that we do have pretty strong wind shear, that's going to allow for, those storms to be pretty well maintained and, kind of in a good cycle, keeping that colder air, that cooler air away from that warmer air intake. Does that make sense? So that's really the importance of wind shear. And also, it's just, it just depends on the mode of storms, but, it is very important for storms. But we do have a lot of it, and like I mentioned, that's going to allow for potentially some pretty good developed storms, given the fact we do have some pretty good wind shear. Now, looking at our instability, I mean, we have some. There's not a whole crazy amount of instability here. I mean, there's enough to get the job done, of course. Let me actually pull up the mixed layer instability. This is just most unstable. Let me pull up the mixed layer here. Let's see here. Let's go and bring up the thermodynamics, and we'll do where is it? Mixed layer Cape. Here we go. Go and overlay that. So there we go. Yeah, I mean, so looking at mixed layer, I mean, we have enough. You know, we do have some pockets of higher instability according to HRRR here. But anyways, so yeah, I mean, we'll definitely need you to be weather aware out here and keeping a close eye out there for those storms and everything. Let me go ahead and overlay this here. I'll do that. You can see a lot of that's capped out, though, so that, you know, that's going to be kind of hard for storms to develop in this darker region here because there's a temperature inversion, you know, warm layer in our lower atmosphere that's preventing that cold air from rising, preventing that warm air from rising, from continuing to rise because the environment around it becomes warmer, which, you know, lowers the buoyancy, lowers the instability. Anyways, besides that, you can see once we approach away into late Friday, though, we really do start building in, you know, a little bit of instability for those storms. And, you know, given at this point, like we talked about, there is going to be some pretty strong wind shear as well. All right. Anyways, what's up, Texas Rose? Hope you're doing good. Hopefully I helped you out there, Logan. Let's see. Texas wants me to look here at 7-7. Not much going on here. Let me check. I don't think... okay, so actually I believe you might be in the risk for severe weather in the next couple days. Let's see. Today we are good. Definitely, yeah, today's risk is way up north. You're good. Today you're good. Tomorrow we're good. Yeah, Saturday we're good too. Sunday? You're right on the edge of the risk for Sunday. Given that you're near the proximity of Sunday's risk, I mean, should definitely be weather aware. But yeah, as of right now, you know, it doesn't seem super wild. But yeah, you're right next to that 15%. I mean, it wouldn't take much for that to be extended into your region. I'm not saying it will, but, you know, you're right on the edge of it. So it could be, you could be in that 15% next update for all we know. So we'll have to see. Anyways, but yeah, Sunday's going to be the day you need to look out there for. Okay. All right, look out there for. All right, let's see here. Bella says, how about the zip code over the next weekend? Or threat, please. Yep, got you, Bella. No problem. Let's see here. So we're up in Mississippi. Okay, so yeah, your risk is going to be here. So the weekend threat. Let's see here. All right, so today we're good. Yeah, tomorrow we're good. Going into Saturday, we're good too. Now, Sunday, actually, you know what? Bella, you're just outside of these main risk areas. Now, given the fact you're right on the edge of that risk here from the SPC on Sunday, also, I was looking at the models too. It does look like that we definitely could see some severe weather potentially out there. Here, let me go ahead and bring up the NAM again. Let's see here. Just kind of get an idea on what we could see here. Let's hop to the 06. Actually, the 12 run will be better. Yeah, so you can kind of see here that, you know, we do build in some instability into your region, into, you know, the upper side here of Mississippi. Now, let me grab a sounding here. So, I mean, yeah, this would be an environment here where some potential elevated storms could occur. You know, we do have, you know, a fairly dry lower mid-atmosphere with some pretty good wind shear. Cape's a little on the lower side, so there could be some hail development in this, you know, if this was to occur. I mean, to be honest, though, yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like anything super crazy, but, you know, that would be a potential tornadic type of sounding, but, you know, the only thing I'm concerned about is our storm base here. Anyways, we'll have to see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you would be included in that risk whenever Sunday does come, Bella. So I do need you to be weather aware, of course. But as of right now, you're just right outside of that. Just right outside of that. All right, let's see here. Nikki wants me to take a look at a zip code here for Missouri. Missouri. Gotcha. Let's see. You're up here, up in... Okay, so yeah, you're going to be in that risk on Sunday already. I think you might have more than one day of severe weather, though. Yeah, so, okay, so you do have multiple days of severe weather. So, first of all, today, you're good. Yeah, the risk today is going to be to your north. Let me, first of all, switch you guys over here so you can probably see what I'm looking at. So, yeah, tomorrow you're good. Today you're good. Tomorrow we need you to be weather aware, though, because we do have that level 2 slight risk, that level 2 severe weather threat out there. So, we do need you to be weather aware tomorrow. That does give us a 2% chance for tornadoes, you know, a relatively low end probability. So don't be surprised, you know, if we do get a tornado with somewhere within Missouri. There's going to be the potential for a couple isolated tornadoes across the state. The odds of you getting it specifically is pretty low. Now, in terms of damaging winds, though, we do have a 15% chance. So, yeah, that's kind of going to be one of your main concerns is going to be damaging wind gusts. Potential for some gusty winds, 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts within those storms possible. And then lastly, in terms of hail, we do also have a 15% chance out there for hail. And ranging between 1 to 2 inches in diameter will definitely be possible. So that's that for tomorrow. So that'll be on Friday. Saturday, you know what? Actually, Saturday has you in the risk as well. That level 2 threat. There is no breakdown as of right now for Saturday's risk overall. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday you do have that 15%. So you know what? You're actually kind of included in potentially multiple days worth of severe weather. So Nikki, I do need you to be weather aware here. Once again, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We do need you to be keeping an eye on the storms, okay? Okay. Matthew says, does tomorrow and Saturday look messy to me? Let me pull back up the models here. I'm going to bring back up our HRRR. So I've been watching it. You said for when? Today or tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow and Saturday. Okay, that's right. So give this a second. Let's go and bring up our radar. Why is my radar not pulling up here? Hold on one second. We'll go and get up our radar here for you guys. All right. So it does look like here for Friday being tomorrow, as we approach way into the afternoon, evening, it does look like we do develop quite a bit of kind of just bits and pieces of heavy convection. I mean, yeah, it definitely does look like we do have a lot of just scattered clumps of storms that kind of develops here. I mean, maybe a little messy, yeah. It's not like a well-defined straight, line of storms or anything like that. You can just kind of see it. It does look a little messy. According to HRRR anyways. Let me try NAM 3K. I know everybody loves NAM. But it's shouldn't rule it out completely. I know a lot of people don't like NAM where they just completely rule it out. I mean, yeah, it definitely does look pretty messy on Saturday. Tomorrow going into Saturday. Yeah, it does look pretty messy, but, still, I mean, messy mode or not, and there is still going to be that, those ingredients available for those severe storms and everything, so that's that. All right, let's see here. Thorn says, how is the zip code looking for tornadoes tomorrow? I got you. Let me hop you back over here. By the way, guys, if you haven't already, consider leaving a like, hitting that subscribe button. Okay, so this zip code's not pulling up here, Thorn. Do you have a town name and a state? I could pull it up that way. Yeah, it's not wanting to pull it up for me. Not wanting to pull it up for me here on this program, unfortunately. What's up, SQU? No problem, Texas. What about Omaha? So, yeah, Randy, today, actually, Omaha is in that level 3 risk here. That enhanced risk. So, yeah, Omaha, Nebraska does have that level 3 severe weather threat for today. That does give us a 5% chance for tornadoes. So, within a 25-mile radius around you, there is a 5% chance for tornadoes, okay? So, keep it out there for that. Now, whenever it comes to, damaging winds, we also do have that 15% chance probability here for damaging wind gusts here between 60 to 70 miles an hour. And then lastly, in terms of hail, we do have a 30% significant risk out there for hail, potentially ranging between, or ranging upwards of 2 inches or more. So we do have potential for really big hail today. So that's going to be kind of the main concern out here, Randy. So today, definitely be weather aware. Tornadoes, large hail damaging winds will all be a concern. Just please be weather aware, okay? Keep an eye out there for it, as we definitely could see some pretty strong storms. And once again, by far the main concern for today is going to be hail, and potentially some pretty large hail too. So just keep a close eye on it, okay? All right. James wants me to take a look at the zip code for Saturday. Let's see here. This is up in Pennsylvania. So let's see. Today is Thursday. It's supposed to be day 3. Day 3 on Saturday. This area is good. So we're just outside of that level 1 severe weather threat. That does put you in, however, a general thunderstorm threat. So potential for some booms of thunder here and there. A little bit of storm activity can't be ruled out, but nothing severe is expected. So, you should be pretty good, James. No problem, Bella. No problem, Nikki. I got you guys. Thorne says, what about Princeton, Illinois? Okay, I can do that. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why my program was not wanting to pick that one up there. Okay. Yep, so I can do that. So here for today, Princeton, Illinois, we do have a level 1 threat, Thorn, so, there's a little bit of severe weather potential today. Overall risk here for today does not have you in any tornadic concern, so that's definitely good. So no tornadoes today. In terms of damaging winds, we're also good. Today's only concern is going to be a little bit of hail potential. Within those storms, a little bit of hail ranging 1 to 2 inches in diameter can't be ruled out. Now, tomorrow is going to be a bit more of a concern here, as we do have ourselves actually a level 2 threat for severe weather out here. It's a slight risk. That's a level 2 out of 5 threat. So Thorn, tomorrow definitely needs you to be weather aware. Now, tornado probability, we do have ourselves a 2% chance for tornadoes. So, within a 25-mile radius around you, there's a 2% chance of a tornado dropping. In terms of damaging winds, we do have ourselves a 15% chance out here for damaging wind gusts, ranging 60 to 70 miles an hour. And then lastly, in terms of hail, we do have ourselves a 15% chance here for hail. Once again, potentially 1 to 2 inches in diameter here as well. Now, then we work our way over here into Saturday. Nothing for Saturday, nothing for Sunday. So, yeah, between today, mostly tomorrow, that's going to be our risk for severe weather. Okay. Anyways, no problem, Randy. I got you, my friend. But anyways, folks, we're probably going to be rolling off here pretty soon here. If you guys have any, like I said, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, before I roll off here, feel free to let me know. But like I said, we're here for you guys, and I don't think we're going to do coverage today. I mean, a lot of people are going to be live for this event, I'm sure. So I will probably try to do some coverage. I'm not sure. I'll have to figure it out. I just got my sleep schedule back in order. So, I've been up all night typically, covering the storms and stuff. I'll try. I'll see what I can do. But I'll keep you guys updated. We'll definitely probably try to do another evening update today. No promises, but we'll see about doing another update for you guys later on today. As we'll have new outlooks, new models, and all that fun stuff. But anyways, Thorn says, thanks, man. You're awesome. Yep, no problem, man. No problem. Tommy wants me to look at Wichita, Kansas. So, Wichita, Kansas today, we're good. Tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and load up tomorrow here. So, here we go. So, Wichita, Kansas tomorrow, we do have ourselves a level 1 severe weather threat out here. This is not a concern for really tornadic activity. We do have a 5% chance out there for damaging wind gusts, potential gusts up to 60 miles an hour. And in terms of hail, we do have a 5% chance out there for hail, potential of hail 1 to 2 inches in diameter. So that's tomorrow. Going into day 3, which is on Saturday, nothing for Saturday, nothing for Sunday. Honestly, Wichita is mostly going to be relatively good. Like I said, tomorrow, just a low-end risk out there for severe weather. Once again, no tornadoes, just a little bit of gusty wind potential and a little bit of hail potential within the area. Could be possible, but the odds, like I mentioned, are pretty low. They are pretty low. All right, Kaylee, I got you. Let's see what we got going on out here for you. So you're up here in Oklahoma. Okay, so yeah, you're definitely going to be in a little bit more of a concern out here. So for today, we're pretty good. Tomorrow, we have that slight risk, that level 2 severe weather threat. That does give us a 2% chance for tornadoes. So once again, within a 25-mile radius around you, there's a 2% chance of a tornado dropping. Damaging winds, we have a 15% chance for damaging wind gusts. Potential gusts ranging 60 to 70 miles an hour in terms of, the peak winds within those storms. And then lastly, we do have ourselves, let's see, whenever this loads here, I believe we're also, in a 15% chance out there for hail. Ranging potentially 1 to 2 inches in diameter. So within a 25-mile radius around you, 15% chance probability of hail, potentially ranging 1 to 2 inches in diameter. So hopefully that kind of helps out. Now, working our way over here into Saturday, we also do have a risk out there, a level 1 severe weather threat here. So be weather aware for that. There is no breakdown here, but tomorrow is going to be your main risk overall. And then lastly, working our way over here into Sunday, that risk is mainly just east of you, but we'll keep a close eye out there for it. But I think you'll be pretty good on Sunday. Really, all I would keep a close eye out there for, Kaylee, is tomorrow. I think tomorrow is going to be kind of your main concern overall. Okay, so hopefully that helps. But Alrighty, everybody. Well, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up here. If you guys did enjoy it, consider leaving a like, hitting that subscribe button. It'll be greatly appreciated. Once again, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. It'd be greatly appreciated, and sharing this if you could to as many people as you can, just to help spread the awareness. It'd be greatly appreciated. But alright, everybody. Well, thank you all so much for joining. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and like I said, we'll catch you guys maybe later on today. We'll have to see. But once again, y'all be careful out there. Once again, today's main risk is going to be up there in Nebraska and Iowa. So just, a little bit of a heads up out there today. You guys be weather aware. And all right, everybody, thank you all so much for joining. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Stream will be heading off here in approximately 1 minute. So go ahead and say goodbye to your friends, your family, anybody you're hanging out with in the chat. And all right, everybody, thank you so much for joining. Catch y'all in the next one. Peace out, my friends. See ya later on.